I was asked whether I can talk here. I said, yeah, great. And then I realized when I went to the website, there were a lot of great speakers having already the cool topics taken up. Then I was wondering, okay, what am I going to do now? People are talking all the Gen AI, all the cool stuff, and what is it that I'm going to talk? So in my career of the last 2.5, almost 22 years, I have done various things. I've gone from writing protocol decodes, people who have used Wireshark and things like that. I've done protocols, I've done operating systems, I've done file systems, authentication, authorization, everything on the world. And then currently I am on cybersecurity. So basically I was thinking, what is the common theme among all of this? Any guesses what's the common theme among all of this? My mistakes. I made enough of mistakes on the way. So what you'll see here is things that I wish somebody had told me, things that I think will be useful as you move from being an architect to really scaling up as an architect across multiple products. Maybe, move up in your career. Okay, so this again is what we think as our career path. I think all of us think our career path is a ladder. We are a software engineer, senior software engineer, a consultant, blah, blah, blah. Maybe even my thought of it was like that because my dad used to be a junior engineer, divisional engineer, general manager, like that. It goes that way, right? All of us. So then one of the things that I realized slowly is at least being an architect is like playing a jungle gym. This. You really don't move up. You move sideways sometimes, you move sometimes, come down and go back. Sometimes you see it slightly differently once you come down. And each person here has his own way up. It's not there's a single way up. So as you want to be a great architect, it's really important to find your path. Your path may not be my path. But so you'll have to figure out what is your path. You may walk your own way, you may climb up your own way, which may be very different from the way somebody else climbed up. So typically, when you see children playing this, you see people playing it differently. Children playing, some child really jumping up and then he falls down because, he doesn't know how to climb up fast. So remember, going up to the next level of being an architect is really about finding your path, finding your way. It's really not about following somebody else. Okay, so if you came here to this presentation thinking you're going to get a list of technologies, list of all the things that you need to do, okay, you should know this, you should know this, you should know NeoJ, you should know this, you should know Argo. Please, this is not really the thing that I'm going to do here, okay? So maybe, you guys should really go to the next session, which may be better. But yeah, wait, you may be hearing something more interesting. Okay, one of the biggest things that I learned pretty late in my career is you have to be a very, very powerful communicator. Communication is key for you. You should be able to tell a story. Okay. One of the things that you see with as you become a slightly bigger architect is you have larger teams, you have big teams, you have 100 people, 200 people, 300 people teams. Now what happens because you're not able to communicate the big story to everybody, you start telling people, okay, you have to build this wall, you have to build this square feet of the wall. That's all you're telling them. But I think just like, a lot of places you hear, tell the big picture. Please talk about the big picture to everybody. You're telling people you're building the cathedral so that people see the cathedral. People get motivated building it. And sometimes there may be things that you don't know. I am putting a wall and then somebody says, no, this wall, there's a drain below. Maybe he knows it more than me, like the guy who's building it. So it's important to keep communicating the big picture to everybody. Don't underestimate the power of communicating the big picture to anybody ever. Second, adapt to your audience. As a very senior architect, you will start talking to a lot of people. You will talk to project managers, directors, product marketing, product managers, name the person, you'll start talking. You cannot be pulling up a very low-level architecture diagram to a set of directors or to a project manager. You'll have to, even though you're telling the story, you tell a story in a particular style. You say, okay, I'm using this, but then here could be the set of things that I have to, you have to worry about. So you adapt your story to everybody. Third, every project runs into problems. I don't think any of us know projects which don't run into problems. So when the project runs into problems, typically as individuals, when we see a problem, we retract. The bigger thing is communicate. Keep communicating what happened. Tell people, okay, here's what has happened, restate the story. Saying, okay, by the way, something scope has changed. Maybe, this person quit. Maybe somebody's, changed the schedule for us. Talk about it so that people know what is it. Again, please use every opportunity to talk about what you think is the story. How many of you know about the book called The Art of War? Cool, okay. This is a very famous saying in that book. Okay, I'll talk about it. In large corporates, okay, I think this may sound a little cliched, but I'll talk about it. You need to find your friends across, which could be your friends in the support, your friends in other groups, your friends everywhere. Why? Even though there is a fixed process in which things work, there is a fixed way that things work usually in every company, there are sometimes you want somebody to be helping you like at 2 a.m. in the morning, like at 10 o'clock in the night, you want somebody to help. And that doesn't go by process, because by the process it goes to manager, it goes through a system, and then it comes back. It's not going to help you. So find your friends. It's important to build your network within your organization, which is independent of your organization structure. Today, I know a lot of people in my cloud support team, in the set of directors that I work with and all that, whom I can go back and ask saying, okay, I think I have a problem, can you please help? And it's good because you know when to reach out to them for help. So please, please find your friends. It's important to build your network. Don't build it and expect your managers to be doing all the work, just doesn't happen. Even more important, know your detractors. I know a lot of people who have told me on my face, you will fall with this project. It's important to know that. Why? Because you need to know what is it that they are seeing which you are not seeing. Okay, sometimes it could be deeply personal. If you leave the personal part of it aside, there could be something that they know you don't know still. So it's important to know your detractors and why they are your detractors. So keep a watch for your friends and your detractors, okay? Third, more important, know your teams, because you have larger teams. Sometimes you don't know everybody. Take every opportunity to know the person. Now, look at this thing. I think I put this tip for a different reason. Most of my meetings, I join 2 minutes early. Why? It puts a very subtle pressure on the person who joins after me, say sorry. It gives me a very subtle advantage that I am on the top. You are telling me sorry and I'm talking down. It's a very subtle thing. So once you are in the field first, you have a very, very subtle advantage. Try it the next time. It works beautifully. Trust me. Okay. Take your risks. You cannot be a great architect without taking your big risks. Take your risks. Figure out where your risks are. Take it. Nothing is wrong taking your risks. Take the real big bold ones. What can go wrong? You fail. Big deal. There are enough of jobs around for all of us in this world, right? Nothing can go wrong. So take your bold risks. Don't be extremely cautious. The more and more you're cautious, the more and more you're not able to grow. I would believe that personally. Because I have made some of my big transitions taking risks. And as I take risks, I let my teams take risks. I let them take design risks, saying, okay, this may not work, Uma. I'm like, okay, let it not work. Let's see what happens. And importantly, when you take risks, I tell the stakeholders that I am taking this risk. If this goes wrong, I need a 20% buffer in. So as the project moves, I have this whole t-shirt sizing, which says this is a t-shirt sizing of L with a confidence of L. Then I say, no, this seems to be a M now because I have moved away from a risk. So take those risks, but when you take the risk, communicate about the risk. If you don't communicate, you are seen bad. So please talk about the risks to people. This is a very good one. Catch your biases. All of us come with biases. Every single one of us. It's very hard to say I don't have biases. I mean, it's impossible. We all have different biases. For example, I don't know how many of you were on the keynote on the first day when Mike was talking about this magician architect. I don't know how many of you were on that thing. He called me to the stage, right? He called me to the stage and told me to pick a card. So till he called me to the stage, my whole perception was these magicians must have planted somebody who will come there and pick up the card that they want. That's my perception, okay? Now he picks me up, I don't know him, I'm like, oh. Then let me see what he's up to, okay? Because I don't know him, he doesn't know me. That's for clear, I don't know him. Maybe everybody else must have thought, because somebody from Cisco came and asked me this today, saying, you knew that guy. I said, no, I didn't know. Same bias I had. Done. Now what happens? Now he tells me, pick a card. I'm like, has he marked something there due to which he knows? Then I see all the cards look same. I'm like, okay, good, pick it up. He tells correctly. I'm like, okay, that means all the cards are 6. That's my bias now. See, my solution to the problem is either you have planted the person Or all the cards are 6. That's the only way you know it's 6. How else will you know it's a 6 that I picked up, a 6 of spade? So we all run with our biases permanently. Even in a situation like that, which was not even important to me, I had already decided. If a magician calls somebody, he's already planted him. When he called me is when it got surprised. Why is he calling me? He should not call me because I don't know him. That's the first thing, right? So consciously work through your biases. Try and go against it, move away from it. We all have confirmation biases. We want to, be very conformative to the society. Maybe, I have this favorite thing about Java. Whenever somebody says Java, I'm like, oh, good. Already I am in this thing that, oh, you're a nice person because you're talking Java. It's very inherent. It has nothing to do with reality. So I have to check it myself to stop my biases every single time. Okay, good. Okay. Unless each of us move away from our comfort zone, as an architect, you don't grow because you have to experience new things, experience new problems, experience new people, experience new situations. Without that, you're not going to grow. There's nothing called moving vertically to be a great architect. No such thing happens in this world. You may stay on the same product, retire with the same product. That's the max that can happen. You really want to make that impact into a big thing, you would have to move away from your comfort zone. It's hard. It's not easy. Take a new role. I have consciously moved away every 4 years into a whole new domain. 4 or 5 years, I'll just move into a whole new domain. It's hard because in the room, suddenly even the kid knows better than you. Even the freshers know more than. When I moved to cybersecurity, it was hard because everybody in the floor knew more than me. And I was supposed to be the architect. It's hard because you don't know how to deal with those situations. The more you work through it, the more you are adaptable to it. Yeah, first few days are hard. You keep regretting those decisions. Eventually, you adapt. Okay? Talk to the freshers. Lot of these freshers come up with all kinds of crazy good things. I had a fresher who joined me. And this guy seemed to be a very enthused kid. And I was like, all nice. And suddenly, I realized he's done AWS architect certification, which very few people have done. And after that, whenever I needed an AWS architecture advice, I used to go to him. Because he's done the certifications which many of my senior people, including me, had not done it. So you never know what you don't know with those kids. So go to her. And try and go into areas that you don't know. You'll keep learning. You may fail, but it's still okay. Okay, this is a big one. I don't know how many of you know this person, Maya. She is a very renowned activist. She's written 15 books. And what she says that every time she writes a book, she thinks somebody will catch her that she's not an author. All of us go through an imposter syndrome. We all think we don't belong to this place. Me, when I gave this thing, I was like, I'm saying leapfrogging from good to great. Am I really great? Am I capable of writing this? Maybe there are people better than me. Reality. All of us go through this. Imposter syndrome is a common thing that all of us go through. At different situations, different ways. We have to acknowledge that we all go through it. Even the best of best go through it. There's nothing that, you don't go through an imposter syndrome and you think you're perfect. That's good if you are. What can worst happen? I used to keep thinking this. What can worst happen to me? Worst thing, I goof this up. Big deal. And the minute you start internalizing that, I think it works very well. So I think create your safety net. I think I'll want to tell a story here. So when I was in school, I was this topper kid in school. Okay, who used to be that first rank every year, every test. If I get 1 mark less, I used to cry. That kind of kid I was, okay? So when I came to 12th, I was obviously the IIT kid. So I was that super confident IIT kid who went and wrote IIT and said, and told my dad, no, you don't have to pay for anything else because I will get. The super confident kid that I was. I didn't get. I didn't get into IIT Mumbai computer science that I wanted. And I had not applied for anything, nothing else. No CET, nothing, because I will get it. The foolishness of not having a safety net hit me then. All the classmates, everybody who used to study according to me, lesser than me, were all there. And I had nothing. And the fact that you need to build a safety net hit me then hard that there was nothing wrong paying 100 rupees. My dad would have been ready to pay. I was that, so sometimes it's not, you cannot be foolish. And from then I learned I can't be that foolishly overconfident of myself. I have to somewhere take reality of what it is and have fun when nothing goes wrong. So, okay. This is a good one again. When you grow up, you need to mentor others really genuinely. lot of us get career, career development programs where we are told to mentor, right? We are told to mentor. Many of us mentor for the sake of mentoring. But if you genuinely mentor somebody, okay, what eventually happens is you will find your next layer. I have been in projects where I have been so critically important that Uma's needed here. And there was this guy who came from a different business unit to mine. And then, I started mentoring. Early days, it was a little hard. Within the first 8 months, it reached a point where he could take 80% of that project load off me as an architect. Amazing, because I didn't expect it. And if I had not invested the time with him, it wouldn't have happened. And I could move on to something else. Unless you do it, you don't see the benefit of it. You like my manager is saying, because I have now this, I have to mentor people, it just doesn't work. You have to genuinely believe it's for you. It helps you grow. Unless you let somebody come to you, nobody else is you're going to be stuck there because you are important at this point. Okay? It builds really good relationships, because as you start mentoring people, you start seeing yourself, you start seeing what you are doing wrong. In fact, this guy gave me this advice saying, Uma, you seem to be running all the meetings. I'm like, no, you start running it, I'll stop. But he's like, you don't give me a chance. Then I realized, okay, maybe I don't give him a chance. I'm like, okay, take your chance now. But unless somebody gave me that feedback, I didn't know I wasn't giving him a chance. I was like, the minute he got silent, I thought he was scared or he was fearful. So I used to take it over, saying, okay, let me just, jump in and then fix it for him. But that was not needed. Of course, it lets you learn, it lets you grow, because you learn very subtle behaviors of yours which is not helping you. So again, as you move from being an architect of a 10-member team, 20-member team to a 200-member team, it's the subtleties that work. It's not really the big things. It's not about which technology you know, whether you know GCP, you know Terraforms, you know Argo, you know this. It really doesn't matter. What you need to know is different skills really. Okay, this is a cool one. Again, as you grow up, you are into extremely ambiguous situations. People ask stupid estimates, people give you stupid estimates. And there are expectations all across you. It's like this, people say, okay, you can finish this entire thing in 6 minutes. So you'll have to manage expectations of everybody, every stakeholder on the way. Below, above, sideways, topways, downways, every side you're talking, you'll have to manage expectations. And that's your job. Your job is to manage expectations. Because if something goes wrong, you're first on the way. Okay, that I'll talk about it. But managing, don't ever think just doing architecture is your job. My very early beliefs was, write the architecture, give it to the team, after that my job is done. It's never that. So as you move up, that's never your job. Okay, as you grow up, don't please go and sit into a room and then close the room. Okay, doesn't work really. Keep your channels open, talk to people, review code, review designs, get into hallway discussions. I am very famous for, constantly walking on the days that I go to office. OpenText, we have to go to office on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, where we go. And then I'm constantly known for talking on the floor. People know, okay, Uma's on the floor. Just that you know what is happening. You know when you go into stand-ups, you know what is somebody talking. You will catch it up later, but it's still important. But saying that, oh, I am too great to go into a stand-up or too great to talk to people on the floor is going to kill you more than anybody else. So please, please don't shut off your channels. Keeping your channels open is super important as you become a bigger architect. Okay, most of you must be architects. As you move up, it's really important to know what's happening around you. And nobody can tell you. If you want to look at status meetings, project review meetings, nothing flies, trust me. Okay, challenge yourself. This is an interesting slide that I put because as OpenText, as the company, we moved to all this aviator and AI. I'm not a data scientist. I'm not a data person. And it's hard because the entire company is moving there now. Okay, and it doesn't get me anywhere because, I can stay in my place and whine and say, oh, no, this is not my place. I am a software product architect and not into AI and LLM and all this. But slowly, you'll have to do it. If you don't do it, you're just not there. So I think it's important to catch with trends, move with the trend. Else, if you are the person who's whining, everybody below you will whine. Okay, so don't whine over changes. Don't whine over big things that are happening. Embrace it. It's hard. I mean, learning, you'll have to be a continuous learner. So as an architect, you'll have to be a continuous learner. There's no choice about it. You cannot say, oh, now I've become an architect, I'm going to chill. Nothing like that happens in the world. Okay, I love this thing, okay? Stand up for yourself always. As architects, I think all of us will agree. We go into a room, we bash up each other. We all agree, disagree? We all bash up each other. Bash up each other's architecture, bash up each other's design. Because everybody thinks I'm good. Each of us think I'm right, okay? So stand up for yourself. Stand up for yourself every single time. Nothing is wrong. More than yourself, stand up for your team, please. Your team has to learn to lean on you, trust you. And they will not do it. See, projects are not based on schedules or what is run with Scrum teams. Projects are based on how people are getting motivated to deliver it. Team has to learn to trust you. So stand up for them always. Accept your mistakes in public. I tell this as a lot of people think, no, this is the wrong thing to do. The more you do this, the more everybody trusts you. Because what happens is, they know when you make a mistake, you're going to come and tell them. The more and more you start accepting in public, people know you're not going to hide anything from them. And it's important, as you play bigger roles into really large releases with like 200 people, like I have a 200 people team. It's hard because they have to get the pulse of what is wrong. And the more you accept saying, oh, damn, I goofed this up, they know when something really goes wrong, I will be the first person talking about it. It's not a project manager or a QE person who comes and says, oh, by the way, this is not working. It's me who's telling you it doesn't work. Okay? Again, success is the team's. Failure is yours. As an architect, you own the failure. The success goes to the team. Don't ever brag your success. The success is your team. Success is the team's. The failure is yours. It's important because that's when people rally around you. Okay. This is something that we did last week in OpenText in my group. There is this whole IPL going on. I think you all know it. So we have this all Scrum teams which are running, and then we have different teams which are doing different things. So what we did is we decided, okay, everybody is running their own thing. There are releases that are happening. So we just said, okay, go ahead, and then we will make it an SAPL, Security Analytics Premier League, and then gamify the whole thing. So basically, where your passion, you could innovate into anything. You could innovate into normal day-to-day work. Innovate, you'll get somewhere with it. Okay, manage your time. I'm very bad at it. But guys, okay, manage your time. I get overbooked from 10 in the morning till 11 in the night most of the days. I'm not the greatest at it, but I try. I try to manage my time every single time, and it doesn't work, but I try. This is a good one, okay? I recently did scuba diving in Goa. I don't know how many of you have done scuba diving. How many of you have done? Cool, okay. So what does he teach you? He teaches you this is up, this is down, this is good, this is bad. He teaches you this, and then he teaches you all the great philosophies and says, okay, go. So me and my daughter did it. She's a swimmer. She's a state level swimmer. So I'm like, I don't know how to swim. So I'm like pretty much set for myself being a failure there. Go there. He takes me in. He's like, my mind, this is good. He pulls me up. I'm like, no, I am good. So it took me some time to say, this is not good. See, I was trying to tell him this is good. And when he tried to pull me up, I was trying to tell him, no, don't pull me up, keep me down. It took me some time to realize I have to do this and tell him, okay, keep me down, don't take me up. So you have to constantly learn and learn. The more you think, you know it, it's so wired in my brain that this is good. And it just didn't strike me that, he had just taught me this means move me up. I am feeling suffocated, move me up. And he did this. And I'm doing this. He's like, oh, she's really in crisis. He's pulling me up. I'm like, no, I want to do this. So learn, unlearn, relearn. All of us are so wired ourselves, okay? So please learn, unlearn, relearn. Yeah, so that's a summary. Strictly believe in yourself. Nobody is going to believe in you more than yourself. And guys, take care. Thank you.